My family sent a text that read, "We need space from you. Please stop reaching out completely." My uncle was the one who sent it. I simply replied, "Of course. I'll cancel my direct deposits right away." Hey, Reddit. The group chat with my family had always been a space for sharing recipes, giving passive advice, and posting the occasional staged photo of the lawn. So, when that message appeared at noon, short and cold in all caps, I thought it was a mistake. "We need distance from you. Please stop contacting us completely." The text sat on my screen like an accusation. There was no nuance, no offer to talk, no expressions of hurt, just a blunt declaration of exclusion. I read it twice. Then again. My uncle had posted it. The one who always tried to be the family's moral compass and who had packed me up like luggage the moment I refused to play along with his narrative. His name at the top felt like a gavel striking down. I stared at the messages from my cousins, small heart emojis, an okay from my aunt, and a well-meaning gift from another cousin. The group had been sanitized, edited, cleaned of me. Typically, people respond to exclusion with a predictable script. They call, plead, beg for forgiveness, and express regret. I had managed to get this far without needing their approval. My thumb hovered over the screen. I could have replied with the usual responses. "I'm sorry if I hurt anyone," or "let's talk," or even the classic, "please don't do this." But this time, I didn't want a performance. I wanted impact. So, I sent a calm reply. "Of course, I'll cancel my direct deposits to the household, and we'll stop contacting each other." I hit send, closed my phone, and walked into the kitchen. The kettle was boiling as usual, and the apartment smelled of coffee and warm bread. In one hand, I held a small stack of paperwork, bank forms, a printout of my account balance, and a little note I had written weeks earlier in case this moment ever came. I folded the note and slipped it into my wallet. Then I sat down, took a deep breath, and made the call to my bank. The HR representative on the line was helpful and a little surprised. "We'll need a signed form to stop direct deposit," she said. "What's the effective date?" "End of the month," I replied. "Please cancel all transfers to the Halton family account as of then." "Okay," she said. "We'll process it. Is everything all right?" "Yes," I answered. "Everything is fine." A lie, perhaps, but sometimes a shield helps you stand taller. When the confirmation email arrived, my hands didn't tremble. I made sure it would be processed in line with the rent cycle and the bills they expected me to cover. I wasn't being cruel. I was being practical. They asked for distance, so I was giving them the space they clearly wanted. Later that day, my uncle knocked on my door. He stood on the threshold, arms crossed and jaw tight. "Why did you say that?" he demanded, his voice brittle like a broken twig. "Why would you do this? Don't you see how this looks?" I invited him in. The small apartment felt too intimate for a conversation that required witnesses. "I'm complying," I said quietly. "You wanted distance. I'm giving it." He ranted about pride and family and the damage I was causing. He asked why I hadn't tried to talk. He kept mentioning shame, as if it were a debt I owed them. "Why are you acting like this?" he asked, his tone softer now. "Because someone had to stop giving," I replied. "Because it matters when people use your money to control you. When your financial support comes with conditions, it's not help, it's leverage." He opened his mouth, closed it, and opened it again. For the first time, I saw something akin to confusion flicker across his face. He had always viewed our family debt as an unspoken ledger we all shared. "You're making a mistake," he finally said. "You'll regret this." Maybe I would, but I had spent too many nights tallying up favors and subtracting dignity to be frightened by potential regret. I ran my fingers over the papers on my table, the crisp edges of choices I had made. When I called the bank, it felt like the smallest of acts, just a button press, a signature, but it was quietly seismic. Removing those direct deposits disrupted their quiet, invisible control. "We help you, so you must behave." By pulling that thread, I loosened a part of their grip. That night, the family group chat went wild. My uncle shared a photo from last year's reunion, everyone smiling and with arms around each other, captioned, "We're a family that supports one another. Distance is painful." My cousin texted, Unbelievable. Another relative DM'd me. You don't understand our intentions. I didn't respond to any of it. I let them fill the void I had created. For the first week, they tried the usual tactics: guilt, omitting invitations, and posting about family time where I wasn't included. They waited for me to flinch. Instead, I lived my life. I paid my own bills, ordered my groceries, bought a small lamp I'd wanted, and answered clients. I slept at night without the fear of texts demanding apologies. Then something unexpected happened. My uncle, the one who sent that message, called me. He sounded small, like a man who had just lost his footing. They're worried, he said, his voice low. They didn't think you'd actually do it. Do what? I asked. Pull the money, he said. They thought their talk was enough. They didn't realize how much they had come to depend on it. Some things are missing, small things, but they relied on them. He paused. What are you going to do? Nothing fancy, I replied. I'll let them find their own footing. He sighed. You'll never get them back. Maybe I don't want to be gotten back, I said, and the line between me and the people who loved me conditionally became clearer. In the weeks that followed, the tone of the family's posts changed. The proud displays faded into quieter, more mundane messages: bills to pay, calls about repairs, and an argument about a lawnmower that suddenly needed a new part. A few relatives reached out privately, softer now, asking how I was doing. A cousin sent a direct message. We miss you, but I understand. Not all bridges close. Some phrases are permanent. The shape of our dynamic changed irrevocably. My choice wasn't grand or dramatic. It was a small act of steady clarity. If you ask for distance, I will grant it. And if you've made my finances depend on your comfort, then I will make myself financially independent. I didn't do it to punish. I did it to survive. I did it to teach a lesson I had been too kind to myself to teach before. Dependency can be used as a leash, and sometimes you have to cut the line to walk free. They thought silence would scare me back. Instead, it allowed me to see who truly depended on me. When the bills came due, their faces revealed the rest of the story. What happened next uncovered payment slips, secrets, and a truth they could no longer ignore. When I cut off the direct deposits, I expected waves, but I didn't anticipate that a small storm would turn into a hurricane. Within 48 hours, their morning routines shifted. Small things that had been invisible to them, the automatic grocery transfer, the utility buffer, the lawn service payment, began to falter. Texts shifted from cold distance to panicked urgency. My phone buzzed first with a message from my uncle. We didn't mean to hurt you. Please call. I didn't respond. Then the calls began pouring in from cousins. My account shows the payment didn't go through. Who's handling the subscription? Then a voicemail from my mother, her voice strained. Emma, our landlord called. They said the mortgage transfer bounced. It's one thing to read, we need distance in a group chat. It's another to see the actual engines of family life stall because you've removed the invisible throttle they had come to rely on. My father showed up at my apartment that evening. He looked smaller than I had ever seen him. Come home, he said. We're sorry. Please come home. Home, I echoed. Dad, you asked for distance. His shoulders sank. We didn't think you'd actually do it. What they didn't understand was the difference between a threat and a boundary. Threats are meant to frighten you into compliance. Boundaries are meant to protect you from being taken advantage of. The next morning, the family group chat turned into a triage center. My uncle, who had been the loudest about wanting distance, messaged me privately. We need a transfer to cover the mortgage this month. Can you help? I'll pay you back next week. I opened the message, read it, and waited. There's a certain power in silence. He messaged again. Please. I packed the messages away. I didn't mean it. There was guilt there, or perhaps desperation. I knew what my options were. I could resend the cancellation, transfer funds back, and cover the cracks with money. Or I could hold them accountable and demand change in return. I replied, I'll help, but only if you agree to 3 things: a public apology in the family chat, a meeting with a financial counselor we choose together, and transparency on where every household transfer has gone for the last year. Silence. Then a tight response. We can't agree to all that. That's humiliating. Humiliation has an odd echo. It's the sound of pride struggling to survive in the light. Pride often prefers secrets. While they hesitated, more trouble emerged. The lawn service went unpaid. My mother received a text saying, "Final notice." The landlord texted my father, "Payment failed. Please contact us immediately." The vet called my cousin about a missed automatic payment for pet treatments. The small dominoes I had quietly pushed to keep the family looking polished began to topple. It was then that one of my cousins, the practical one, reached out privately. "We need to audit the accounts," she typed. "Something's off. The checks are leaving the account but not going where they should." An audit. That word carries weight for families that think hush money can substitute for conversation. Under pressure, my aunt produced bank statements she had resisted sharing. They didn't match the line item memo field she read aloud at Thanksgiving. Payments labeled charity appeared in escrow accounts marked house repairs, which were redirected to personal loans, and a few transfers had a recurring beneficiary, M. Halden Landscaping/Labor. That name was my uncle's. My phone lit up with damning details. The transfers were small individually, disguised in the decimal places, but together they formed a pattern. My uncle had been moving money from the family account into accounts he controlled, masking them as household expenses. When I confronted him about it, his expression changed the way faces do when the story you've been telling yourself falls apart. "I covered things," he said. "I helped. I thought I was doing the right thing." Helping and taking from our cousins, context matters. If you divert household funds for genuine emergency repairs, that's one thing. If you reroute charitable donations or siphon payments under the guise of "we'll fix it," and then use them to clear your gambling debt or fund side projects, that's theft. It was a small thing to discover, but a big thing to confront. I didn't post the records publicly. I didn't need to. I called a meeting, not a dramatic family intervention, but a practical, documented reconciliation. We sat down with the cousin who had gathered the statements, the accountant she trusted, and an independent mediator. I laid out the terms clearly: a plan to restore the missing funds, a timeline for repayments, and a contract for transparency and oversight. The family could either accept it and move forward or refuse and face the legal and relational fallout. My uncle's voice shook. "I can repay," he said, his pride trembling. "I'll repay what I took. Then it's on paper," I said. "And we do it publicly with a witness." He agreed. The repayments weren't instantaneous miracles. They were slow, awkward installments that required the humiliation of facing neighbors, clients, the lawn service, and the small charities that hadn't received their payments. For the first time, I watched my family make phone calls on speaker to apologize. Those calls were messy. Some recipients accepted apologies, while others did not. The important thing was that the calls were made. Days later, my mother pulled me aside in the quiet of their kitchen. She had been defensive, brittle, and fearful for years. Now, she had aged in a way that sadness sometimes does. She seemed honest and softened. "I was scared," she admitted. "I didn't want people to see us as we are. I thought I was protecting us." "Protecting an image," I replied, "is different from protecting people." She nodded. "There's no erasing the past, only trying not to repeat it." The family group chat gradually changed in tone. The dramatic messages faded. The performance quotas diminished. People began asking about each other in small, genuine ways. The cousin who had uncovered the transfers offered to serve on a financial oversight committee. My uncle made his first repayment to charity the following week, accompanied by a public receipt and a short note that read, "I was wrong. I'm fixing it." Was it a perfect ending? No. Old habits have deep roots. But for the first time in years, I saw daylight between us where there had only been shadows. I hadn't used their access to money to punish them. I did it to teach them that financial dependence without accountability becomes a form of control. My withdrawal forced them to confront their choices. Their responses were imperfect, messy, and painfully human, but they were responses. In the end, the text demanding distance taught us all a lesson about closeness. You can't buy it. You have to build it. And sometimes, the only way to start building is to stop paying for the illusion.